maka-fellowship naman tayo sa pamamagitan ng pag-aral ng kanyang salita. Ang ating pinag-usapan ngayon ay stewardship of career. At we welcome all of you tonight and we hope that we will have a better evening sa mga technical natin na mga ginagamit. I hope we have a better presentation tonight than the problem we had yesterday. Okay, awitin natin ang Though He Slay Me. Nawa ang awitin na ito, Panginoon, ay magiging amin pananalangin at amin dedicatory song sa amin mga buhay upang na anuman ang mangyari sa amin, ang buhay namin, ang lahat ay nakalaan at nakalatag sa altar mo sa habang buhay pa kami at hanggang sa kamatayan. And so we again express our total dependence upon you, dependence on your care, protection, and supply, dependence upon you for wisdom, for your providence, especially sa mga krisis na aming dinadaanan sa ngayon na kami ay hindi magbitaw sa aming tiwala ng lahat ng mga bagay na nangyayari ay pinapayagan mo at ang amin dapat gagawin lang ay hahanapin ang direksyon mo at amin susundin na walang pag-alinlangan at walang pagrireklamo, walang complaints, but that we receive everything from thy hand with willing submission and joyful obedience. Ito lahat ay amin pinasasalamatan at hinihingi sa pangalan ni Jesus at ng aming nakananahan sa amin na banal na Espiritu. Amen. Hindi pwede kasi makanta ng chorus nito. Pwede, no? 𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙬 lang. Biyawitin natin yung katapusan na chorus. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. I lay all my heart in his altar, and rest in his infinite care. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Yet will I trust in him. Kanta na yan ay matutuhanan naman talaga yan eh. Kaya kunin na tayo ng Panginoon. Wala ka talagang dapat i-problema. Sabi mo lang talaga pag alis ng ng kaluluwa mo siguro is, yes! Kaya dahil kung sunduin yung mga hindi mo nanampalataya, dalhin doon sa kalalagayan nila, ako naniniwala na may susundo rin sa atin. O kaya, ang banal na espiritu nga nanahan sa atin, sabayan na lang ang ating kaluluwa at espiritu doon. Iwanan yung katawan. Okay, I'd like to ask apologies sa mga rimalason na ating nadaanan kahapon. At buhay pa ang aking, kala ko nasira na ito kahapon. Okay pa pala. So, we thank God for that. Ang problema lang natin itong ating projector ngayon, and we may have to change that also sa karami ng ating ginagawa ngayon because medyo na rin yan. Kailangan na, kaya lang ang ating scaffolding wala dito. We'll have to get that para palitan natin ito. Pero hindi bali na, total pwede naman pala. Sa atin dito, pwede naman ito eh. So, hindi na kailangan yan hanggang babalik ang lahat dito. Okay, iniwanan natin kahapon ang ating lesson, and we ended early dahil may isang kapitulo halos nga natanggal sa akin notes. At naratol ako noon dahil ito pa naman ang inaasahan ko na talagang maraming katotohanan na ating mapag-aralan. Binibilang ko kasi kung ilang taon ang pagtiis ng Panginoon sa kay Jacob. Hanggang siya ay talagang nabago. Mga 40 anyos. Kaya life begins at 40 para sa kay Jacob. Dito ko lang na unawaan na ang period pala na hinahanda ng Panginoon ang Israel galing sa kay Jacob hasta na sila ay maka-establish ng kanilang pamilya, kumplito na pati na si Benjamin, andyan na, ay mga 40 years talaga ang ginamit ng Panginoon para na ang Israel ay makuha at ma-redeem. Saka lungkot sa talagang it's a very pitiful situation ang kanilang dinaanan. At ngayon ko rin lang nakita kung paano tiniis sa grasya ng Diyos at sa kanyang mercy ang lahat ng mga principle ng Panginoon sa marriage, family, at saka yung pagpalakad ng buhay na nadaanan ni Jacob. Halos puro mali. Puro mali. Simula mali, patuloy mali, mali pa rin hanggang umuwi. Talagang maraming mali. So it is not true that when God started to form Israel as a nation, that they were a nice people, very obedient people. In fact, they were so depraved. At makita natin ito rito, kaya I decided to just print out the whole chapter of Genesis mula sa 13 ngayon dahil natapos na natin yung 12 kagabi. So dito tayo sa verse 13 ngayon. From a monogamous family, nagiging biktima si Jacob ng unang balakid sa buhay niya. Hindi siya monogamous at siya biktima ng kultura. I don't think to give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't think that Jacob intentionally wanted to get married to 4 women. He ended up marrying 4 women and establishing 4 families out of the 4 dahil biktima siya ng kultura na yan at saka hindi siya naglaban. Pwede naman niya manindigan na kaya lang biktima talaga siya. Hindi binigay sa kanya si Rachel. We are going to go to that. So ito sinasabi ko rito dahil ang pag-establish ng Israel as a nation was really a painstaking job that God did for him. Kaya maganda yung kinanta natin as clay in the hand of the potter. Para na maging vessel tayo, kailangan talaga i-mold niya. At maraming pain ang daanan natin hasta nga makarating tayo sa what we are now. Kaya came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him, kissed him, and brought him to his house. And Jacob told Laban all these things, lahat na dinaanan nila. And Laban said to him, surely, thou art my bone and my flesh. Isang buwan siya doon sa bahay ni Laban. At alam natin at that time, mainit pa rin yung problema sa bahay nila. At saka hindi pa ayos yun. So, malungkot nga Iniwanan niya ang kanyang magulang, tapos maya-maya konti, na rin, yung kambal niya ay nag-alis na rin sa bahay. So, kawawa itong dalawa. Ang nanay niya at tatay niya ngayon ay sila na lang dalawa. Nag-empty nest sila. At maybe it took quite a while for them to see eye to eye. Siguro, sabi ng isa, kasalanan mo kasi, naiwanan tayo. Hindi, kasalanan mo iwanan. Iniwanan tayo dahil ganun They had nobody to blame but themselves. Kawawa itong dalawa And they must have been about 20 years old when that happened. So ilagay na lang natin 20 anyos. So 20 anyos din siya doon bago siya umalis. Okay, so with that in mind, we will see how hard it is to change a person. Without changing his mindset, it will be impossible to change his character. So ang kanyang napakita na dito na sa pasimula ng Israel had to be redeemed. The family had to be redeemed from a very depraved condition into what God wanted them to be. Okay. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Actually, ito kwanto tanong ito na hindi naman na hindi ba dahil total, you are my brother, siguro pwede naman na mag-serve ka sa akin na libre na lang, hindi na kita bayaran. That's the opposite. Porque because you are my brother, I don't intend to ask you to live with me and work for me without pay. Tell me what you want. Tell me your wages. Kaya nga sinabi niya dito Sabihin mo kung magkano ang isweldo ko sa iyo. I want you to work for me. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And right away, after 1 month, ay na-inlove na si Jacob. And said, I will serve thee 7 years. Siya yung nag-una bigay ng price. I'll serve you for 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. Ito naman yung isa, conforme naman siya, pero mayroong may pandaya pa. Hindi niya alam ang kultura. Okay. So, Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than I should give her to another man. So, abide with me 7 years. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. Kaya pala kung in love pala 7 years is only a week. And Jacob said unto Laban, after 7 years, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. I want to marry her. Dito makita natin kung gaano sila kaingat din sa kanilang mga relationship. Because 7 years walang nangyari sa kanilang dalawa. Hindi niya nga nakilala . So, Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter. Nang medyo lasing na sila lahat at medyo hindi na sa normal na isip, brought her to him. And he went in unto her. Hindi niya na makilala. Meaning to say, hindi talaga siya nakagalaw ng babae pa. And Laban gave unto, kasama noon, sinama niya pa yung kanyang handmaid. For a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Laban, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? Yon ang una nilang problema. Sa simula pa lang, nagdadayaan na. And Laban said, okay, ngayon na lang yan sinabi. It must not be so done in our country. Dito sa amin, hindi pwede na ang younger ibigay ahead of the firstborn kung ang firstborn ay wala pa asawa. Fulfill her week. Ibig sabihin, okay, si Leah yung for the first 7 years. Kung gusto mo, serve another 7 years. Para nga dalawa na sila, maging asawa mo. Doon ang problema na nagsimula. From a divided monogamous family, which is true. Kahit na monogamous yung kanyang pinanggalingan, pamilya, hindi naman yun ideal nga pamilya . And so you see, Abraham's family was not an ideal family. Puro din problema. Si Abraham. Tapos lipat niya ang problema niya sa kay Isaac. Problema din. And therefore, dalawang anak nila, problema rin. Started life with the problem. So lahat sila may pagkukulang sa prinsipyo na binibigay ng Diyos kung paano papalakarin ang pamilya. So failure, we can probably say they are failures in their stewardship of their person, of their soul, and of their spirit. Magaling lang sila sa kanilang karir. Kasi talaga makita mo na very successful sila in the shepherding business, sa trabaho sa field at saka sa mga tupa. Okay, so ang nangyari, Jacob did so. And he worked for another 7 years. Tapos binigay niya naman si Rachel, the daughter to wife also. So dalawa na ang kanyang asawa. A very poor way to start a family. Doon pa naman manggaling ang Israel sa kanya. Pero hindi pa siya Israel, Jacob pa siya. So he could very well symbolize or represent us also nang hindi pa tayo mananampalataya. Not natural or yes, the old man, the natural man cannot receive the things of God. Okay, so, and Laban gave to Rachel also his daughter Bilhah, a possible problem that will come. Pagbigay ni Laban sa kay Leah, sinama niya na yung posibleng problema na nagiging problema nga. Itong isa may dala din. So right away, he is now faced with 4 women in his life. What is he going to do with them? And he went in also, okay, nagkaroon na sila intimate relationship with Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah. Ayun na. O, siyempre, hindi mo yun mamahal. You cannot love one like the other. If you love one, di ba sabi no, you cannot have 2 masters. Or you cannot have 2 wives. Either you will hate the one or love the other, or else all to the one, love the other. And stick with the other. Yun na ang problema nila. Kaya sinabi ko rito, Jacob had to manage a prospective family of 4 mothers. And lagyan, imposible yun. Wala problema. And yet, makita natin that impossibility was overcome by the grace of God. Hindi mo yan pwedeng ipagmamalaki na magaling siya dyan. Yan ang kagalingan ng masama. But out of that, God was able to raise a nation. But it had to wait until Jacob changes his life. That was, unahan natin dito, anyway, madaanan din yan natin mamaya, that was when he wrestled with the angel. Doon siya nagbago. Okay. So, natapos siya na yung 7 years. Jacob had broken the basic marriage and family laws God had set in Eden. Kung ano ang nalagay ng Panginoon na prinsipyo mula sa Garden ng Eden, hanggang na nag-abot sa kay Abraham, hindi pa rin nila sinunod. Nakarating na sa kay David, broken pa rin. Dating na kay Solomon, broken pa rin. Hindi nila sinunod yun, yung mga polygamos. Of course, we have a few that remained monogamous. Joseph was one of them. Isaac also. Pero Jacob, hindi niya. Okay, so he needed a lot of mercy and grace from God to become the father of a new nation, Israel. Here is where God's redeeming work is demonstrated. Can a godly nation come out of this chaotic condition? Grabe ang mga susunod dito eh. Babasahin lang natin ito. We do not need to make any comment. Basahin mo lang at pag-isipan, makita mo kung gaano ka problematic itong sitwasyon nila. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Sabi ni Nathaniel, with Nazareth being almost a cursed and an unknown town, can anything come out of that? Yes, good, and that is Jesus Christ. When the Lord saw that Leah was hated. By the way, Panginoon, alam niya ito. All of what they're doing, God knows that they were wrong. But God behind is trying to work things out so that He can mold Jacob into a vessel that is going to be a vessel of love for His glory. He opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. Kawawa naman. Karoon na sila ng anak, hindi pa siya mahal. And she conceived again and bare a son and said, sunod-sunod, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, He hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. The first four born son are all from Leah. Okay, tinawag niya Simeon. So you have And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons already. Therefore his name was called Levi. Mga importante na mga tao ito. She conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah. That is where Jesus is going to come from. Levi was where the priest is going to come. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Is that a very ideal family? Kawawa naman na pamilya ito, nagkakuntis kung sino makaanak. Ilan na? 4-0? 4-0. Itali nyo ngayon dahil talaga naawa ako dito. This is how Israel began. The church also began like that. Yun din na pagsimula ng Panginoon sa simbahan din, ganun din You were from darkness to light. From lahat ng mga klase kasalanan. But in Christ, nagiging tauhan kayo ng Panginoon. So, ito naman si Rachel, naghingi naman. Napagalitan tuloy. Give me children. Hindi nga siya nagsabi, give me a son. Give me children. May intention talaga siya nga magkompetensya din. 4 na, 0 pa siya Or else I die. Grabe naman. Kaya nagalit si Jacob. Was kindled against Rachel. And he said, Am I God? I am in God's stead. Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb? Diyos ba ako? So she said, okay. Ito nang sabi ko kanina na pagpangasawa sa kanya, pinadalhan pa ng handmaid. Yun nga, problema. Behold my handmaid, go in unto her. Is that a good wife? Di siya makaanak, magbigay na lang siya. Dapat tulad din sa uga. Yun din ang ginawa ni Sarah So these people are all miserable. Kaya Israel cannot really boast about their being God's people because they were good. Kaya tama yun I did not choose you because you were a great people. I did not choose you because you were righteous people. No, I chose you because you were miserable. And I want to prove that in your miserable state, if you submit to me, I can change you into a country, into a nation that could be the channel of the Redeemer. At yun ang gusto ng Panginoon makita. Kaya our God is glorified not in the righteousness of His people, but in the mercy and justice and saving power that He has demonstrated on people who are sinners, yet lalapit sa Kanya na maghingi ng patawad and then be converted like little children. And so, ang kanila kultura doon is, okay, she is going to bear upon my knees. I will be there watching for the baby to come out, that I may also have children by her. So, surrogate na. And she gave Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. Okay. 3 na, kamisis. Miserably. You are only asking for trouble. So Rachel said, God hath judged me and hath also heard my voice and hath given me a son. Therefore, he called she his name Dan. Alam naman natin kung ano ito si Dan nang lumaki. Very idolatrous person who started idolatry in Israel. Kaya ito si Dan nagiging symbol ng idolatry in Israel hanggang sa tribulation period. Ito siyang tinanggal. tribo niya, hindi nakalista doon. And yet, galing ito sa mahal niya nga asawa na binigay niya ang handmaid. Kaya nire-review ito, sabi ko, grabe naman ito. Kasi years ago, sa mga dati na binabasa natin ito, para natanggap na lang natin na ito na sitwasyon. Kasi palagi na lang natin naririnig ito without even thinking na this is terrible. This needs to be redeemed. Wala sa kanila na hindi nangangailangan na itubusin. Ganon din yan sa atin. Wala sa atin dito nang hindi kailangan tutubusin. We had to be redeemed. Kahit yung mga maliliit natin dito ng mga bata, inosente lang yan sila. But when they go to the age of accountability, they too had to be redeemed. Kaya the earlier, the better ng sila ma-expose sa Panginoon. Okay. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceive again. Aba, pahabol din. Habol. Nakaapat na sa kabila eh. Habol siya, 2 man siya. Second, with great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister and I have prevailed. Akala niya lang naka-prevail siya, pero 2 pa lang yung kanya eh. Hindi pa rin. So she called his name 𝙚𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙤. Dan and Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing. Ay, miserable nga kompetisyon to sa loob ng pamilya. Huwag niyo to sundin, ha? Nang nalaman niya nga nagminupos na siya, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob to wife. Ito mga babae na ito siguro, okay naman sa kanila. Hindi naman masama siguro na magiging ika-3 ako. Ika-4. May iba nga, sige lang. Kahit ika-10 ako, basta andyan. This is the world's way of raising a family. Not the Christian way. Okay, ang pangalan noon, Gad. G-A-D. Ito siyang naiwan doon niya sa kabila, kasama ng Reuben, Gad, at saka half tribe of Manasseh sa kabila ng Jordan. So, Zilpah's maid, diba? Nakadalawa na rin. 6 na. Mag-6 na. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed, and she called his name Asher. So may 4 na, 6 na. Tapos, may dito, may pumasok dito na dati atin man lang to kahapyaw lang eh. Pero dito malaki ang nito, itong mandrakes na ito. Sa ngayon sabi daw nila ang karni daw ng pawikan ay maka-revive ng vitality at fertility. Nakaka-induce ng reproductive system. At ito yung superstition nila doon. Lumaki yan sila sa lugar na basta makakain ka ng mandrake, fruit ng mandrakes, ay ang sabi nila, kahit na ka na menopause, ay pwede ka pang manganak ulit. Mabalik daw ang fertility nitong mandrakes na yan. In the field. So si Reuben ay after the wheat harvest, pumunta doon. May nakita siya ng mga mandrakes. Nalaman niya nga si mama niya, menopause na eh. So, nagdala siya para ibigay sa kay Leah kasi gusto niya rin na madagdagan pa sila. So then Rachel said to Leah, ang nalaman ni Rachel, na doon sa kay may mandrakes, ibig sabihin, naniniwala din nila ng superstition. Actually, ito superstition ito eh. Pero may halo din na milagro. Superstition sometimes can happen because of manipulate din. May kalaban tayo kasi. So sabi niya, pwede ba mabigyan mo rin ako niyan? Kasi may problema. Alam naman ni Leah nga may problema si Rachel mga anak eh. Eh, gusto niya na kainin niya yun para nga manganak pa siya. Ibigay niya sa kay Rachel, kalaban niya. Hindi pwede. Kaya sabi niya, is it a small matter that I was taken my husband? Simula nang pumasok ka sa buhay ng mister ko, ikaw na lang, ako wala na. Tapos ikunin mo pa itong mandrakes para sa iyong sarili. Therefore, she shall lie with thee tonight for thy son. Para bang sabi ni Rachel, okay, nanalo ka ngayon dahil may mandrakes ka. Pwede ka mabuntis ngayon. Kawawa naman ako, wala. Wala pa rin. Yun ang implication dyan. It's a superstition. But alam nyo naman, when people are desperate, di ba sabi ni Doc Dison din yung atin dinaanan doon sa health and the Bible. When Christians are so desperate for healing, sometimes they will just go to superstition, they will go to demonic healing. Para lang gumaling, pupunta sa demonyo para magpagaling. Yun ang natural, and it's not new. Noon pa, may ano na yan, may ginagawa na nila yan. Okay, so, isang gabi, ito naman si Jacob, alam niya na si Mrs. niya, wala na yon. He came out in the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, thou must come in unto me, kasi nakakain ako mandrakes. Yan ang ibig sabihin yan. For surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrake. Yung mandrakes na yon ay misteryo yun na Kaya, tonight we will have intimate relationship because nakakain ako mandrake. I may still have a baby. And so he lay with her that night. Kung isipin mo itong bakit ilagay pa ito sa Bible, itong mga ito? Kaya kung minsan, ang mga kalaban ng Bible, sabi, tingnan mo nga yung Bible kung banal ba nga libro yun. Bakit yung mga yan nilalagay pa dyan? Nilagay ito dito dahil para malaman natin kung ano kasama ang tao, ano kasama ang Israel sa pagsimula sa kanila. And God hearkened again. Kita mo, ang Diyos naman ulit. Nagpayag na naman ulit. She conceived. And bare Jacob the 5th son. Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. Sino to? Okay. And she called him Issachar. Okay, so, Issachar, pang-5. Ilan na yun? Okay, pang-5 ni Leah, 2 yung kay Rachel. Okay. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the 6th son. Aba, okay pala naman Drake siya. And Leah said, God hath endowed me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. Biro mo, hanggang dito, miserable pa rin siya. Tinawag niya nga si Bulon. Tapos nanganak pa siya ulit, babae, the only girl nga nabanggit dito. Dinah. And God, finally, verse 22, God remembered Rachel. It's about time. God hearkened to her and opened her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord add to me another son. Diba may 2 son na siya sa kanyang Bilha? Nadagdagan ito, isa pa. And of course, 1 more son, Benjamin, would complete the 12 tribes of Israel. And Rachel died at his delivery just after meeting Iso. Ang ibig sabihin, na-meet niya si Iso, buntis pa siya. At least nakita siya ni Iso bago namatay si Rachel, because Rachel died before arriving in Canaan. And it came to pass when Rachel had born Joseph, time to go. So 20 years nagdaan na mula nang dumating siya doon after seeing the dream na yung ladder na yon. So mga 20 years have passed. So if he was 20 also, mga 40 ng edad niya. I'm not sure about that, but that would be very close to the estimate. Time to go. Sabi niya sa kay Laban, send me away, that I may go unto mine own place and to my country. Nagkaroon na rin siya ng desire. I cannot stay here forever. I have to go back to my country and live there. At least wala na ng istorbo sa akin. Meaning, I'd like to have my own family. I'd like to run and be a steward of my own family in my own country, which is not a bad idea. It's a good idea. So sabi niya, give me my wives. Ayun. Sa statement lang nalaman mo ay may problema. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go. For thou knowest my service which I had done to thee. Of course, he recounted. May mga party dyan na in-eliminate ako, but may mga binanggit siya na mga sakripisyo niya para sa kay Laban. So naman, nalaman naman ni Laban yun. So Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thy sight, tarry. Maganda naman ang testimony. Ibig sabihin, at that time, kahit na mali-mali yung mga ginagawa nila doon, na-recognize pa rin ni Laban na ang Panginoon ay naawa pa rin sa kanila. I have learned by experience that the Lord had blessed me for thy sake. So hindi ako makalaban sa iyo dahil talagang nakita ko naman na pinagpala ka pa ng Panginoon. Hasta ako na sali. Kaya farewell. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. Nalaktawan ito because I purposely removed that. I served thee 14 years for thy daughters and 6 years for thy cattle. And thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Ang ibig sabihin, sa loob na aking pagstay sa iyo, ang ating kasunduan ay binago mo 10 beses. Okay lang sa akin. Except the God of my father and the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou had sent me away now empty. Kung hindi lang sa awa ng Diyos, you would not allow me to go empty with anything. Di ba, pag sa una natin doon he started his journey to Padan Aram almost empty. Wala kasama. Wala masyado maraming baon. And now he is coming back home with a caravan. Ang dami-dami niya. Okay, so, surely thou had sent me now empty. God hath seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. Ibig sabihin, may nangyari dito between, kasi ayaw ni Laban, ayaw niya Hindi niya pa nga ipadala yung mga Nagkasundo na sila, lahat na spotted akin. Ang lahat na mga puro itim at puro puti sa iyo, sa cattle at saka sa Pag may makita ka na spot sa baka, iyo yun. Akin yun. Ang kumplito, yung puro isa lang ang kulay, yan ang sa iyo. Nang umalis na sila, pwede kadami na may spot. Parehas lang sila nagdadayaan Si Jacob, alam nyo, madaya yun Kahit nang nagkasundo na sila, basta may spot sa iyo yun. Basta buo ang kulay akin. Ang ginawa niya naman, habang nagbibreed doon sa balon, nagkuha siya ng daw kahoy ba na black ang kanyang bark, pero puti yung kanyang Pagkatapos iyagin balatan para nga mag-black, white, black, white, black, white. Pagkatapos habang nilalahian, ginapakita niya doon. So ang anak daw, spot. Totoo ba yan? Jacob had to do that in order to na makalamang naman siya. Oh. Kaya nang pagbilangan na nila sa dulo, aba, ang dami-dami yung spot. Akala niya siguro sa yung ginawa niya. Na yun eh. Di ba sabi nila kung ang babae daw ay maglihi sa mangga, ang anak nila daw mangga? Hindi yan totoo. Okay. So ang dami talaga. Kung isipin mo lang, miserably ng mga tao ito. Is that godly? Superstition? Kaya kung wala pa na-convert ito si Jacob, I do not know what kind of man he will be. Okay, so Laban answered and said to Jacob, another argument. These daughters are my daughters. Ibinigay niya na yun eh. And these children are my children. These cattle are my cattle. And all that thou seest is mine. What can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children, which they have born? Sabi niya, wala na akong magawa. Winarningan na ako kasi ng Panginoon. So, ibig sabihin, sa kanilang controversy sa kanyang pag-alis, kahit na may dayaan at may selfishness, ang grasya ng Panginoon ay nag-ano pa rin. Di ba? Tama yun. Justice, triumph, mercy triumph over justice. Now therefore come thou. Okay, dahil wala na ako magawa, mabuti pa maghiwalay na lang tayo na peace. So si Laban na rin ang nagsabi, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called 𝙚𝙤𝙘 and Mizpah. For he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. But it was a very sad parting. Imagine, halos naubos ni Jacob ang, dalawa lang ang anak niya Walang naiwan kahit apo. Wala siya naiwan na apo. Kasi hasta yung anak ng mga handmaid, apo niya rin yun pero hindi niya nakuha talaga. Can you imagine Laban stripped of everything? Halos, pareha siya sa Egypt When Israel got out of Egypt had nothing left. Almost. Kaya kawawa man. Therefore was the name of, okay. Pero ito yung sabi ni and I appreciate this because keep ito ni Jacob. Jacob never married any other person, any other women before. Siya, of course, na-convert na siya. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. Walang pakialam yung mga tao. Walang nakakaalam. God is witness between me and thee. Huwag ka magkaroon pa ng ibang asawa. At naghiwalay sila. So the nation of Israel established Jacob, a transformed man. At ito yung turning point ng buhay ni Jacob. Because after this, he became Israel. But not until he was able to wrestle with Jesus Christ. Because si Kristo yun ang nakipag-wrestle sa kanya It's a theophanies of Jesus Christ. But it was, it was just more than a dream. Kasi nabalian siya talaga Binali ng Panginoon baywang niya Pwede ba yung nagapanaginip ka lang pagkatapos binali yun ito? He limped all his life. But he was a subdued man. From then on, Jacob became dependent upon God. Nananalangin na siya. Kasi wala na when doon nagsimula ang Israel as a nation, a product of God's redeeming work and a product of God's restoring grace and mercy. He rose up that night, took his wives and his 2 women servants, his 11 sons, and passed over the ford. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. Jacob was left alone sa gabi na yon. Hindi pa sila nakita ni Esau. Esau was also, I do not know how he knew about it, but Esau knew that he was going to meet. Para bang nagkaroon ng na magkita sila. How did Esau know about that? Siguro sa mga ikot-ikot na mga tao, finally God made them meet. And so sa gabi na yon, ay ginresol siya ng a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw, ang angel, when he saw that he would not prevail against him, kasi malakas siya eh. Imagine, a slave for 14 years. Malakas siya, lumakas talaga siya doon. Taking care of 4 families at the same time. Malakas talaga he was very strong man. And when he saw that he touched the hollow of his thigh. The hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and he wrestled with him, as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." I do not want masilakan ng araw. Dito nakuha yan ng Ilonggo yung mga mananap na ang aswang gabi lang yan eh. Uwi yan siya sa kanyang bahay pag aga na. And he said, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. So na-recognize na niya sa mga appearances ni Jesus Christ sa kanya, sa mga previous to this, kay Abraham, kay Isaac, at saka sa kanya. May na siya, may intuition na siya na yung nakausap niya ng gabi na yon at kinakausap ay hindi ito ordinaryo na tao. This is God in a human form. Pre-incarnate yan ha. How God did it? Mystery. What is thy name? And he said Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but ngayong gabi, Israel ka na, for as a prince, thou hast power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Okay, yon is the symbol of his struggle for changing his character and his life. Yon ang symbol ng conversion. Experience. Because how can God start a nation for his name when the father is not converted? Maganda na lesson ito. Tama talaga ito na inuubos natin. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? Hindi niya sinabi, but he blessed him there. Okay, ito na yung pag-meeting nila ni Esau. Dito rin ay nagandahan din ako ng istorya na ito. How the two were prepared to meet at this time. Okay, Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, sa ila travel, tapos na ang lahat. Esau came, and with him 400 men. Nakatakot din yun. So, ang ginawa niya, nang malapit na sila, divide niya tatlo sila kagrupo. Ang pinauna niya, may dala ng regalo. Pangalawa, sunod niya, may dala na yung regalo. Pagkatapos siya sa likod, may dala din na regalo. Para pasalubong sa kay Esau. So, he passed over before them. Ito naman si Esau. Habang nagalakad siya with 400 men, nasasalubong niya itong mga tao. Ginagalang, Tapos sunod siya sa sunod na grupo. Hindi niya pa rin nakita yun si Jacob. Tapos doon sa likod, kita niya. Esau ran to meet him. Siya hindi makaran eh. Pilay. Kaya kung minsan mabuti na pilayin ka para hindi ka na maka-eskapo eh. Okay, ran to meet him and embraced him. Anong sabi niya dati? Patayin ko yung kapatid ko na yan. Hindi niya man nagawa eh. fell on his neck and kissed him. At nag-iyakan yung dalawang matanda. Can you imagine? Dalawang 40-year-old. Naghingi ng patawad siguro doon. Basta nakalimutan nila yung ilang problema. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children. Tuwan-tuwa naman eh. Mga pamangkin niya yun eh. Pinakamaliit doon si Joseph. And he said, "Who are these with thee?" Ang sagot naman said, "The children which God hath graciously given thy servant." 11 yun. Pagkatapos, may 3 pa may 4 pa kananay yun. Tapos may mga servants pa siya na sarili. Then the handmaidens came near. They and their children. Aba, kada nanay may dala nga mga bata. Pagkatapos, ginrespeto nila si Uncle Esau nila. Maganda nga, wala lang video ito eh. Pero maganda sana kung may video ito, no? And Leah also with her children came near, bowed themselves. And after came Joseph and Rachel and bowed down. Buntis yun siya at that time. Kasi a few days later sa kanilang pag-travel, si traveled, namatay siya. Hindi siya nakarating sa Kanaan. Okay. Siguro dyan na lang tayo. Alam na yan natin. Gintanggihan ni Esau eh. Sabi niya, ano itong pinadala mo sa akin? That is to find grace in thy sight. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Sa iyo na lang yan. I have enough. Hindi ba sabi ng tatay niya, you have the dew of heaven and you have the earth. So magaling din si Esau. Kasi, tama no? Magaling din si Esau. Kaya lang, ang kagaling niya, sa ano lang, sa mundo lang. So both of them had been blessed materially. Hindi natin alam kung ano ang end ni Esau. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I have seen the face of God. Grabe ang kanyang superlative. Kita, kuya. Tama, no? Kuya niya si Esau. Tama kita ko. Para nakakita ako sa Diyos. Talagang. Okay. So, marching to Zion na to. Ito na. And so, diretso na sila papunta sa Kanaan. Israel redeemed. Enters Canaan. Grace alone. Pumasok siya, grace alone. Kasi kung tingnan mong pinanggalingan niya, wala ka talaga doon ng pwedeng mapuri na marami. There were a few instances na siguro sa buhay ni Abraham at saka sa buhay ni Isaac, sa buhay ni Jacob, before this experience with the wrestling with the angel of God, siguro may mga mapili ka rin na mga mabubuting bagay doon, but most of the time, there was a violation of God's laws. And yet, tiniis ng Diyos at grasya niya para na ma-accomplish ang kanyang programa para sa kanila. So Esau returned that day on Mount Seir. Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built him a house, and made booths. Dito na nanggaling ang tabernacle. Kasi ang booth, tabernacle yon. Okay, so, anong pronunciation niya? Tabernacle or tabernacle? Okay, tabernacle. Yan sa English, tabernacle. Sa Tagalog, tabernacle. Tabernacle. So, dyan ang galing. Abraham did that also. Like father, like son. Like father, like grandson. Kasi both sa kanila eh. Kaya nagiging feast of the tabernacle. And Jacob came to Shalem, the city of Shechem. Shechem na ngayon, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. May istorya naman na bago dyan. And he erected there an altar and called it 𝙚𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙬 Israel. The nation God has kept for almost 4,000 years, plus 1,000 years coming. Yon ang istorya ng Israel. So that completes our biography ni Jacob. Let's sing again yung ating kinanta. Though he slay me. Though he slay me, yet I trust in him. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. I lay all my heart on his altar, and my many care. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Yet will I trust in him. Pastor Boy?
Salamat muli o Diyos sa gabing ito, sa devotion. Salamat sa mga salita mo na aming napag-aralan. Natutunan namin, Panginoon, gaano man ka hirap o gaano man ka sama ang sitwasyon, mayroon ka pa ring kaparaanan, mayroon ka pa ring solusyon upang ang iyong plano at kalooban ay magkaroon ng katuparan. Salamat dakilang Diyos sa biyaya mo sa aming buhay na sa kabila, Panginoon, ng aming pagiging makasalanan din. Kayo po ang gumawa ng paraan upang kami ay maabot ng iyong biyaya sa pamamagitan ng aming Panginoon Jesucristo, ang iyong pinadalang manunubos at tagapagligtas ng aming buhay. Kaya, Panginoon, sa iyo po namin pinagkakatiwala ang aming sarili sa gabing ito, sa aming pamamahinga, at umaasa po kami sa iyong biyaya na maging ligtas kami at magkaroon ng panibagong kalakasan para sa araw ng bukas. Itong aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus at sa kapangyarihan ng banal na Espiritu. Amen.
Okay, good evening and God bless you. We'll continue tomorrow night.